everybody, it's Dave the Red Pill Coach, and I'm back again, once again, to teach you guys how to make your life better and how to make your relationships work. So today I'm going to move on to a new series. This is going to be called the Cheating Series, Coaching Infidelity. So this is an art and a science in the world of coaching and also in marriage counseling. So I'm going to do some comparisons between marriage counseling and coaching and what I do from a red pill perspective. So why doesn't marriage counseling work? Why doesn't it work? Well, as a scientist, I look at the problem and I immediately see the solution because, and that's the problem, marriage counselors are not scientists. They're social justice warriors for the most part, and they typically don't base what they do on science. They base what they do on ideology. They don't base what they do on observation. They base it on ideology first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And what is this ideology that causes marriage counseling not to work? I would argue especially in cases of infidelity. It's because they don't have the right categories. Again, scientists here, and when you've got a solution that works some of the time but not all the time, and it is a disaster some of the time, that suggests that your treatment is only good for a certain segment of the population, and that there are other segments out there who need to be acknowledged and recognized. So what is it that these marriage counselors / social justice warriors believe? I think the number one assumption that they make, the misassumption they make, is that men and women are exactly the same. That's what they argue, that's what they preach, that's what they believe fervently. The only difference is some minor plumbing, right? Right. That's the only difference. So therefore, men and women can have exactly the same treatment, right? Right. No, that's not right. And I'm going to show you how it's not right. Because these gender differences are obvious, but they are kryptonite to SJWs. They destroy the entire leftist argument. It doesn't work. It simply does not work if men and women are different. We've got to be exactly the same, and they will fight to protect that idea. They will go down fighting to protect that idea. And they will throw their clients under the bus to protect that idea. So in short, we need better categories of men. We need to divide up the group and say, okay, the treatment works for this group. What can we do for this group where the treatment doesn't work? So just a basic scientific way to handle things, but these SJWs are not scientists, and they are much more concerned with furthering their ideology than they are with helping people, I believe. Because it's kryptonite to them, it destroys their whole argument. So what are the categories of men? Well, the red pill identifies a few of them. There are the alphas, the betas, and the omegas. Okay, so there's three the red pill talks about. And who is the alpha? Well, the alpha is the guy who gets laid. And the beta is the guy who holds his coat while the alpha's getting laid. And the omega, he's not even at the party. He's home playing World of Warcraft in his semen-encrusted computer chair. So those are the three categories of men. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. Alpha lays, beta pays. And what does the omega get? He gets nothing. The omegas are considered the losers. These are the guys who can't work up enough fucks to get laid, to lose weight, to look halfway decent. Or even take a shower in some cases. And weirdly enough, they have no luck with women. We go back to beta. How do we identify the beta? Well, the beta is the guy, as I said, who holds the coat of the alpha while he's shagging his woman. And the beta does a few other things as well. Most importantly, the beta listened to women. The beta listened to his mother, listened to his sisters, listened to his cousins, listened to his nieces, listened to his nephews. Maybe not his nephews, but listened to his nieces, listened to his sisters, listened to his friends, listened to his wife, listened to his girlfriend, listened to his fiancée, who all told him the same calculated, coordinated lie. Women want nice guys. They like a guy who takes them out and buys them things. That's what women want. So they pay attention to women. They listen to women. And they don't escalate. They don't try to get sex from a woman because that would be rape. They don't try to make a move on a woman unless she gives clear indication that she has given her permission to make the move. They don't touch a woman without getting permission from her first. They don't sexualize the conversation. They don't talk dirty, they're polite, they're kind, they're sweet, and guess what? They get rewarded with frozen vaginas. Yeah, I said it. Custard, not custard-filled frozen vaginas either. Just frozen. Because women aren't turned on by this behavior in spite of what they claim. So, if I were you, I would watch what women do and not listen to what they say. Well, the betas have a little bit of luck and the alphas have a whole lot of luck. And that's how the red pill defines the categories of men. Well, married red pill went a little farther than that. And we needed to go a little farther than that. So I've come up with 4 derivatives of these alpha, beta, omega. I've come up with 4 categories for married men. Number 1 is the family alpha. The family alpha. Now, the family alpha, I'm not talking about Hunter Drew of thefamilyalpha.com. I am talking about, in general, the family alpha male. And I would argue that he doesn't actually exist. He is actually kind of like a unicorn, right? You know, a woman, you see, she's a pixie dream girl. She's perfect. She's perfect. And that's what the family alpha is. He's perfect. He's a family man, and he likes to get laid. He can have anybody he wants, but he only wants the wife. Do they actually exist? Yeah, I mean, you can identify a family alpha as a guy who, let's see, he is never turned down for sex. He is highly respected among his friends and family. He leads his family, and the thing that makes him alpha is they follow. The second category of the problem is that dries up after 1 to 2 years of marriage. If you're a defeated alpha, you stop getting sex after marriage. Shortly after, 1 to 2 years into the marriage. Guys are distinctive because they typically have 5 to 20 partners during their life. And I would say a much higher percentage of these girls, or these guys, end up with girls who are the manic pixie dream girls. The crazy, borderline personality disorder, insane women. And these are the ones who provide the insane sex that completely obliterates the man, and that leads to his decline. The third category is the omega male, also known as the terminal beta. I'm kind of combining these two for marriage purposes. These guys have always been beta, even before marriage. Even early in the marriage, the wife was squirrely about providing sex. Oh no, I'm not in the mood, whatever. You know, they weren't attracted right from the beginning to this person, and they made it clear right from the beginning that they were not attracted to this person, yet the guy continued to pursue them. By definition, that makes you beta if you do something stupid like that. Almost always when I see these guys, they are involved in a cycle of desperation. I call it the cycle of desperation. It's a cycle where essentially you are trying to get sex and the wife is playing hide the vagina. I call it the hide the vagina game. Women love to play that game. It puts them in a position of dominance and authority, and they do it all the time, especially to terminal betas. They play games. They titillate and punish. I had a client whose wife, I don't know, she got off for some reason on hopping on him, and they'd start having sex, and then she'd just stop and raise some random thing to start an argument. I mean, can you imagine how frustrating that would be? I don't want to have sex, I don't want to have sex, I don't want to have sex. Okay, let's have sex. Oh, wait, what about... Eddie Murphy talked about this. He said, we don't have a problem with women doing that, but could they at least Stop talking when your dick's hard enough to cut diamonds. Thank you. That's the comedian's take on this problem. The non-comedian take on this, the coach's take, is to recognize that these guys almost never have any sexual options other than their wife. Almost never. Most of them couldn't imagine cheating on their wife. Most of them couldn't if they had to. And I might also add, they always have fewer than 10 partners. Always have fewer than 10 partners. I've never seen one with more than 5. These guys. I mean, there's overlaps in the categories, but that's the way it works. Now, I want to also break down the percentage of these people that I have for clients. So the family alpha, as I said, I don't have any clients. Who are family alphas? I'd probably be their client. And then the defeated alphas, about 40%, maybe 30% of the guys that I work with are defeated alphas. And then probably 50% are this omega male terminal beta. It's a little bit harder road they have to travel, but we are making very good progress with a lot of these guys. And then the fourth category is the I call them the loosely married alpha. And another word for these guys is cheating man whore, right? That's what these guys are. They're cheating man whores. And when do you suppose, well, first of all, let me describe these guys. These guys are typically in quite manly occupations. You know, these are welders and oil and gas guys and, business executives and typically, studs. Most of the ones that I have worked with were into martial arts. I had one guy who was an MMA fighter, and I talked him into taking on his first professional bout. He got his ass kicked, but he got into the ring and found out that maybe that's something that he doesn't want to do for a living. But these are the type of guys that are loosely married alphas. They're studs. They're 6 foot. They lift weights. They're often college athletes. And they, as I say, they often have a high rank in some martial art. They're very confident. And they're also cheating man whores, because what do you suppose the question is that these guys ask when they call? Can you guess? What's their problem? They're studs. What could be their problem? Well, they're too much of a stud. The problem is the wife threw their ass out, and now they're living alone. And it's weird. Most of the guys are fine with that because they're thinking, I can move in my own apartment and screw whoever I want. It's going to be great. But then their wife or fiance or girlfriend moves in another guy into the house that he's paying for. And suddenly, that's not cool. Not cool at all. And that's when they get desperate. And they call, and the question they ask is, how do I win back my wife or girlfriend or fiance that I cheated on 12 times? And I shouldn't laugh, but it's funny because it's so ubiquitous. You just see it over and over again. These same guys, these man whores, had the same problem. How do I win them back? So how do you win them back? Well, the traditional approach to marriage counseling, again, is to crush the cheater into dust, so long as the cheater is a male, of course. And when I say crush into dust, I really mean that. They sit you down as the cheater, and you have to go through everything. Every time you cheated, what positions you used, who it was, when it was, how many times you screwed her. I mean, all the while the wife is sitting there sobbing hysterically, and you're wiping your... And the goal of this, I mean, they get into graphic sexual positions and what did this woman provide that your wife doesn't provide? No, they don't ask that. Absolutely not. Not allowed. What they ask is more details, more pain, more suffering. And when you've suffered enough, when you've been crushed enough, then maybe they'll release you from therapy. Okay? So that is the traditional approach to marriage counseling, and it would almost be acceptable. Because in a lot of respects, this last group I talked about, the cheating man whores, the unrepentant alpha, that's probably what a lot of these guys need, right? They need to be knocked down a little bit and made a little bit less alpha, maybe a little less attractive, so the girls aren't throwing themselves at him all the time. And that's the focus of marriage counseling. That is similar to what I do in the case of the career alpha. But the weird thing is, marriage counselors have a different approach to the cheating woman. Okay? The woman does not have to provide details of her sexual encounters. The woman is not beaten down or ground down. In fact, the woman is given encouragement. The woman is told, well, what did he do to force you to cheat? And I'm not kidding. That's actually the approach. Marriage counselors favor the woman, and if there's any cheating going on, it's got to be the man's fault, because he either didn't provide what the woman wanted, or he's just a bastard who cheats. No one seems to ask, what about, was the woman providing what the man wanted? Well, I can answer that. The answer is no! She wasn't. But we don't ask that question in traditional marriage counseling, but I do ask that question in coaching. And that's one of the differences. Because no man in marriage counseling will ever be able to say, well, I had to, I cheated because my wife cut me off and we haven't had sex for a year and she's been a bitch and won't let me touch her. Well, why do you suppose she won't let you touch her? Versus, that's if the woman cheats. If the man cheats, says, well, did you think about how much this would hurt your wife? You see the difference in approach? So it's really, in many respects, outrageous the way we treat men in marriage counseling. It's outrageous the way we treat men in society in general. So I don't know why I would be surprised that these prejudices against men would be carried over to marriage counseling, but believe me, they are. And in fact, this marriage counseling approach is the fast-track betaization strategy that all women pursue. When you get married, on day one, even before day one, they begin to break you down. It's like going to the doctor, You're forced to wait in a crowded room. They don't care. They don't care about your schedule. You go into the doctor, what do? They give you a gown, tell you to strip naked and sit there and wait for the almighty master to appear. Yeah, that's what they do. And that's what women do in marriage. They break you down. They beat you down over time. And this marriage counseling tactic is just an extension of that. It's a fast track to betaization, and it's very obvious what they're doing. If you look at it objectively, they're trying to make the man less attracted to women so he doesn't cheat. Okay? And it works 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, it doesn't work, because you're dealing with different types of men, different types of women, and different types of relationships. And making the man more conscious about being subservient and more conscious about not offending anyone and elevating his psyche so that he considers the wife's emotions, all of these are betaization strategies. And all of them, by the way, are extremely sexually unattractive to women. So you can see what they're doing here. It's pretty obvious what they're doing. It's also pretty obvious that it doesn't work for the vast majority of men, the 80% of men who are beta. This strategy doesn't work. It doesn't work. And yet, the marriage counselors use the exact same strategy for the uber alpha who cheated 20 times and the perennial beta who got lucky one night after a year of not having sex with his wife. It's the same thing. He cheated, right? Well, I would argue it is not the same thing. So knowing all this, now that I've told you about alpha males and beta males and omega and family alphas and defeated alphas and career betas, let's talk about the career alpha. Let's talk about the cheating man whore. Because these guys are alpha males, right? So, and alpha males, by definition, are rugged. They're individualists. They are, what are they? They're the type of guy who doesn't go to the hospital even, they got a limb all askew, broken. They'll just, they'll snap it back, he'll be fine. They won't go to the hospital even then. So they're certainly not going to see a mental health worker or professional like myself unless they reach crisis mode. And what do you suppose that crisis mode is? Yeah, it is, I'm throwing out, I need to mend my cheating ways. How can I win my girlfriend back? How can I win my wife back? And these guys are, of course, I don't want to speak badly of them, but they are mostly narcissistic. So they're thinking of themselves. And what spurs them to action is dread game. It's dread game that makes them seek out help. It's when the wife is actually slipping around now, and they don't know what to do about it because they never expected that. I mean, they could sleep around all they want, but they never expected the wife to pay them back. So the funny thing about these guys, the man whores, they're all the same. They've all got the exact same story when you go through the history. They've all cheated multiple times. The wife knew about it. She caught him. She caught him again. She caught him again. She caught him again. Caught him again. She caught him again. And then she had enough and she throws him out. And even that's not enough to get them into therapy or to coaching. It gets them into, getting laid with a lot of different women. But what gets them and what's really triggers the desire to seek help and to change is when she cheats. When they realize, oh, whoa, I really am going to lose her. Yeah, pal, you are, if you keep cheating. So that's the case that I get. The guy is been cheating multiple times, and now the hot wife, his pixie dream girl, is cheating, and he can't have that, of course. So that's one group of clients, the men, and I don't think I went through the percentages, but the alpha, the family alpha, I don't have any clients like that. That's just an archetype. It's a goal to work towards. Then the defeated alpha, probably about 30% of my clients, about a third, are defeated alphas. And then we have the career betas, the omegas. Probably 50% of my clients are there. And again, we have to use a different strategy to help the alphas and the betas. And you have to be able to identify them before you can do anything about it. And then about maybe 10% of my clients are alpha males who are cheating, who get caught cheating. And another 10% are females. They're the women who are married to these alpha males, and they're trying to learn how to get him to stop cheating, how to reel him back into line. And I have some strategies for dealing with that as well. I didn't think I would like to coach women. My coaching site is coaching for men. But as it turns out, I had to change it and add, and the women who love them. So it's coaching for men and the women who love them. So these women love their husbands and they want him back. They want him to be faithful. And I'm able to help those women. And that comprises about 10% or so of my client base. And that's all I have for today. We're well over time on this video. Next time, I will cover my individual coaching approach for these different categories of men and women. And I will also incorporate what the traditional marriage counseling approach is so we can compare them. And this is the cheating series, so I will focus on the marriage counseling approaches to cheating and the coaching approaches to cheating and my approach. On the next video, I look forward to talking to you again on the other side. Thank you very much.
I can't do this all on my own. No, I know I'm no Superman.